The Rivers of America section of Magic Kingdom Park is one of the most important sections for making it a natural beauty there in the middle of Frontierland, Haunted Mansion, and of course, Big Thunder Mountain. When the new Cars expansion was announced at D23, Josh D'Amaro didn't say where it was going. However, I think we all knew that it was going right there in the middle of Frontierland. Now that they've confirmed it's going, a Florida government organization called SwiftMud has said that Disney needs to provide additional information on ecological impact here before they can approve them taking out the Rivers of America. Well, the deadline is looming, and someone, the most unexpected person if you're a Disney follower, has come out and said, hey, you need to give Disney more time. And that person is often referred to as a Ron DeSantis appointed board, that being CFTOD. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Here's a story out of Blog Mickey. State of Florida gives Disney I almost said 100 days, gives Disney World 10 days to fix Rivers of America demolition permit application or face rejection. Look at that right there. That's a bridge. That is a Frontierland. That's Big Thunder Mountain right there. And that, of course, is a steamboat. This by Mike. The state of Florida's Water Management District has sent Walt Disney World a notice that Disney's permit application for work on the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island is incomplete and facing rejection. The letter says Walt Disney World has 10 days to provide a complete application or the permit application will be rejected. If the permit is rejected, work cannot begin. By the way, this was published December 3rd, so just a couple of days ago. Right here, a new letter from the Southwest Florida Water Management District, otherwise known as SwiftMud, notifies Walt Disney World that its application for early work on Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island remains incomplete. The permit outlines early preparations of the Rivers of America area and nearby forested areas to provide for construction laydowns and other associated demolition, otherwise known as your staging area for this. Additional information requested by letter on September 11th, 2024 has not been received by the SwiftMud. If you are not ready to submit a complete response, you may voluntarily withdraw the application prior to the application being denied. Should you fail to fully submit the requested information or withdraw the application within 10 days of the date of the letter, the application will be considered incomplete and district staff will process the application for denial without prejudice to your right to reapply at a later time. So they could apply at a later time. So there is an update on this, and hopefully Disney, who they're a giant corporation. They're a $200 billion corporation as of the recording of this video, thanks to the recent uptick in the market altogether. They haven't gotten around to providing the state of Florida with the information that has been requested. I used Ron DeSantis in the thumbnail, but that's just because he's the best representative of the state of Florida from a visual perspective. But this isn't Ron DeSantis. This isn't CFTOD. This is SwiftMud, which predates CFTOD by many decades. So, extension requested for Disney's Rivers of America demolition and area redevelopment permit. So, Disney has responded. Oh, and look at this. It's CFTOD, actually, that has requested a 60-day extension for the ongoing discussions between the state and Walt Disney World over a permit that would be the first step in the demolition and area development of the Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom. The extension request came after the state's Water Management District notified Disney they had 10 days. So we have heard rumors in both directions here. I know people at the company who have said this is definitely happening. And then I also know people that say that the percentage chance that this will not be happening is still under 50%, but that percentage is growing. Of course, we have the recent notification that Monsters Inc. land will be starting construction at some time in the future. It sounds like a long time from now, but they'll be constructing a Monsters Inc. roller coaster down the street from where they have Muppet Vision 3D, and therefore Muppet Vision 3D has to go in the name of immersion. One of the dumbest decisions they've ever made, right next to getting rid of Rivers of America. That appears to be delayed. We'll be talking about Tropical Americas today if we have time there. That appears to be delayed, and that is further along in process than this. One more thing I want to point out. Sorry, I'm talking a lot today. Josh D'Amaro did say at the American D23, the ultimate fan event over there, that dirt was already moving for Villains Land, which maybe he was talking about Cars Land, because I believe that is part of this same expansion that they're talking about here. He said that dirt was moving. And then when they did the Brazil version of D23, I think it was in that instance that he said that they will be breaking ground soon. So those two don't exactly, those seem to be contradictory statements here. Guys, what do you think is going on?
Disney lies all the time, constantly, chronically. They are always lying. They are always under delivering. They promise the world, they deliver, the smallest continent they can find. They are terrible at telling you what they're going to do, what will be possible. They over promise and they extremely under deliver. I can't go through enough cliches to describe how terrible this company is and how it's been run for the last 12 to 15 years. If you look at the decision-making process starting with NGE, everything after that has been folly, with the exception of a few attractions that they couldn't downsize because they had invested so much in the creators that they wanted to keep happy. I'm speaking specifically about Pandora. But if you wander about Disney, you look at all the underdone things, the unmaintained things, this is a disaster. And this is just piling another one on. That's how you ended up with a La Quinta, next door to the Polynesian Village Resort with that expansion of that hotel. I'm just telling you, this is all kinds of bad. It's going to get worse, and I'm tired of Iger or D'Amaro or whoever it is lying to me about the theme parks.
Yeah,
we're getting less, we're paying more.
Yeah, and this is quite a fascinating story, because obviously in the surrounding area, this is why people are talking about sewage so much in the chat. We've been hearing about sewage leaks and main lines leaking out all kinds of things and so forth. And it's interesting because Marvin was like, well, they're doing work on the shooting arcade, now turned into a DVC location. Does that have anything to do with that? And, I was hesitant to agree, although that is a possibility. But now that I think about it, now that I think about all of this, I think, well, maybe they're not doing anything at all right now, because they know that this whole area is going to be entirely transformed. So it's not really worth putting in more resources in order to deal with some of those number two issues, let's say.
I would say much like the dwarves in Middle Earth, they had dug too deep and struck an evil that they had not anticipated.
Yes, that's a fantastic line right there. And we know that Disney company will do this. And by the way, this extends even beyond the theme parks. There's a story out of page 6 New York Post talking about the ABC building and how the ABC Good Morning America building over there in New York, the pre-existing one since like the 80s or whatever, not doing so well over there, not in the best conditions for those anchors and media personalities. But when you look at a project like this, culture's right. I mean, they do lie. They say, oh, it's shovel ready. We're really moving dirt here, guys, because they understood that they got a lot of flack and a lot of pushback from the what if segment from the last D23 Expo. Well, now you're in a situation where you've said that these things are shovel ready when you just filed the application for the permit work for something like Tropical Americas, or for something like this, or for something like Adventures Campus over there in Disney California Adventure. And when you say shovel ready, that implies that these things have already been applied for and maybe even have gotten approvals. What's interesting in this situation as well is that the CFTOD asked for the extension on behalf of the Walt Disney Company. Now, I always heard that CFTOD would stifle growth or expansion, but now it's clear to see that their job isn't to stifle growth or expansion, but to, when seeking expansion or seeking growth, that it be an equitable or an equal arrangement.
That's a very good point that you're making, Vash. That when they said that this would be a Ron DeSantis board, they were there to fight Disney. This is something where the original Reedy Creek Improvement District was something that was fully controlled by the Disney company. There wasn't enough oversight it was supposed to be a public-private partnership, and it just ended up being a private partnership. No No agreement like that existed anywhere else in the United States. It worked well and did not have a sunset on it, and therefore it continued on for 40 years longer than it probably should have. These are the kind of things where we end up having questions about why certain codes don't seem to apply there. Why did Disney need the right to put in a nuclear airport, as I often like to joke? This is something I don't think that this is the end of the project here. I just want to point that out. I don't think this is the reason that the Rivers of America project would be ended, whether or not it's permit application or something like that. I think it would be the information that should be in that environmental impact report, or whatever the equivalent is here. Culture, you had your hand up.
I said, teacher. How many attractions does the Rivers of America actually contain?
2, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, wait a minute now. You have the keel haul boats. You have canoes. You right? Am I
They
wrong?
let you do
Am I right?
canoes at Magic Kingdom?
Yeah. I think they just like at Disneyland. Yeah, I think so. Or maybe they used to. Anyway, let's see. Tom Sawyer Island, obviously this lovely boat. You are able to do a lot of interesting things that are adjacent to that, including the raft ride, right? So there's like 3 boat transportations that people actually engage in addition to the steamboat. So there's 4, plus Tom Sawyer Island. That's 5. Am I wrong? My math good?
I think that the canoes and the boats are gone. Here's our buddy Brer Oswald
Oh,
there.
are they? Oh,
Pointing that
okay.
for us.
All right. Well,
And
I'm
those
old,
those are high maintenance and high trust in guests, which are the kind of rides that Disney tends to get rid of first.
Vash, are those still at Disneyland?
Yes, the canoes are still there. The Columbia is still going around the circuit. The Mark Twain is going around the circuit. You have Fantasmic, which is its own kind of an attraction in its own right, and Tom Sawyer's Island. The keel boats, unfortunately, haven't been an item since the 90s. So
Wow. Okay. All right. So I was wrong, but that's fine. There are several attractions there, I guess, is my entire point. And they're going to replace several attractions with one.
Well, yes, as far as we know, that's the only thing they've announced for that land is the
Disney's addition by subtraction continues in that park. You only have to go back and look at what they did with New Fantasyland.
Very true.
It's bad. I'm sorry. Look, I'm outraged about this. I never get a chance to talk about it, and nobody's going to convince me that it's a good idea to take out an area of the park that adds so much ambiance and honors a particular period of time that they're trying to run away from. I don't want Pixar in that part of the park. It makes 0 sense. Just like it makes 0 sense to put Tiana in in a redo of a ride that never should have been touched. You cannot go around replacing classics with garbage. I mean, and here we are again. The Snow White movie. We can keep. It's everything Disney's doing is a downgrade, and they're going to argue a necessary downgrade. Well, thank you very much.
on Walt Disney's birthday, he used to say, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible." There are
That is
ways.
very true. That is very true. It's Walt Disney's birthday, everybody. Happy birthday, Walt.
We miss you.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.